why I'm switching from this device to the 17 Pro. The iPhone Air is no longer for me, and I know you may be thinking, but you just said the iPhone Air is great, and I still do, and I want to get into the video about why I'm swapping this device for the iPhone 17 Pro. So let's get into it. I know I've been talking about the iPhone Air for the past week or so, and I absolutely love this phone. I still do. However, I'm going to be trading this in, or I actually exchanged it for the iPhone 17 Pro. Now, I still stand by this device. I still think this is an incredible device, and I still think a lot of people should buy this phone. But there's a reason, and one main reason only, as to why I'm switching from this device to the 17 Pro, and truly that is because of the cameras. I went into the Verizon store today and I wanted to go see the iPhone 17, the 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and obviously I have the iPhone Air. When I saw the 17 Pro Max, I really was not a fan. I think it's just too large at this point. I think it's too heavy. I really don't see myself going back to a Pro Max in the near future. It's just really not for me. Then I tried the iPhone 17, just a really solid device, smaller display, great battery, wide angle lens in the back, really interesting colors compared to the other devices. You really cannot go wrong with the iPhone 17. However, for me, I just don't want to go with the base model. Not that it's bad, but I would just want that extra camera in the device. The iPhone Air, which I've said, I really love this device, and it's a little upsetting to me that we didn't get that extra wide angle lens, but also not having all the other cameras obviously is upsetting, but how could you really expect that if they wanted to make a phone that is this thin? Now, the 17 Pro for me is kind of what I think is everything that I want in the iPhone. The size is the same as the 17, so you are getting a smaller display compared to the iPhone Air, but it's not a drastic decrease. You're getting all of those cameras with the new zoom. You have the vapor cooling. It is thicker, which that is something that I'm going to have to compromise with, and that was a big selling point for me with the iPhone Air. And unfortunately, that is something that I have to compromise, because when you hold this phone, literally just if you hold it, you're laying in bed, you're watching movies, YouTube videos, or you're going for a walk, it is something that you don't appreciate until you have something this thin. And I'm gonna really miss having a device that is this thin, because it was honestly just phenomenal all around. But I just think for me, the 17 Pro, when I went into the store, I was trying it out, I fell in love with those cameras, and it comes down to what your needs are, what you're looking for. And I came from the iPhone 15 Pro Max to the Air, and using it has been phenomenal. This is such an amazing device. It's so thin, it's so light. You literally forget that it's in your pocket. People just are like, wow, that is a beautiful phone. It's fast. Even the camera in the back is great. However, for my needs and what I've realized is that I want a camera that has a wide angle lens and also a good telephoto lens as well. And I'll explain why my opinion about that has changed. So I've been going on a lot of walks, primarily to just stay active, but also lose weight at the same time. And whenever I bring my iPhone Air, I don't feel it in my pocket. However, one issue that has came up is on my walk, there's a lot of things that I wish I could do when it comes to photography. I love taking photos of birds, up close shots of plants, just nature, if I see something that I really like. And also when I spend time with family, I'm not always going to carry a DSLR with me. And not having that on a phone, when I first got the Air, I think I was fine. But as, certain days came about and I didn't have my cameras, I really started to miss having those. And I think for me, that is a reason why I'm going to switch to the 17 Pro. It's honestly a really hard decision to make, because this is it's such an incredible device. When I look at it and I hold it, I don't have regrets by any means of ever purchasing this phone. I don't take back anything about what anyone or what I've said. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, you were just in the honeymoon phase. That's really not what it was. I just think that I realized that I really just want those cameras, and that's why I wanted to switch. I do a lot of content, especially with YouTube and these videos starting to grow a lot more. I want to have a camera that I can actually use and just have that better footage and just like that different camera. Now, with that being said, do I think that this is a bad device and I'm switching? Because no, the battery has been phenomenal. I still stand by that. The speaker has been honestly good. A lot of people think it sucks. That's not true. And the camera and just everything about the Air is honestly great, and I still stand by everything that I said. I still think this is just an absolute great phone, but at the end of the day, it doesn't fit all the needs that I want in a device, and that's the reason why I want to switch. And I think that's totally fine. And a point that I want to make is when I'm looking through all the comments, I try to reply to everything, and a lot of people really are hating on the iPhone Air. And I think that's the complete wrong approach. If someone likes the Air, we shouldn't be hating on someone. We shouldn't be saying, oh, you're dumb. Why would you choose a device like that? We should be encouraging of other people and allowing people to make their own decision what their needs actually are. I still stand by the fact that this iPhone Air is for a certain type of consumer and not someone who needs all these tons of cameras, which I've said in the past. This is honestly an amazing daily driver. It does everything that I needed it to do. And again, if this device maybe, let's say next year, had a wide angle lens, I honestly would come back to the Air. But because it doesn't, I found myself being in situations where I'm like, I really, really wish I had that. And that feeling alone for me is just really hard to let go of. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion about it. And something that I've noticed with the iPhone Air is that the battery in a way has gotten better over time. I know that Apple came out with that new adaptive battery feature, and I've noticed that my battery has lasted longer compared to the first day, which kind of makes sense. It's a new device, you're downloading everything, and then as your phone is learning about your habits, it's going to get better. And I think that's a phenomenal thing that Apple has done. I'm enjoying the iOS 26. I think it's really new. I'm coming from iOS 18, which I had never even knew that we're already at iOS 26. But it's definitely interesting. It's different. I like the liquid glass. I know that currently Apple is coming out with a new update, iOS 26.1, which is in the beta phase. But yeah, that's been it for the most part. But this iPhone, you really cannot go wrong this year. A lot of people are going to be negative, and I imagine people are going to be like, I told you so. I think with every iPhone this year, it fits a certain demographic for every single person. I think if you are looking for the best overall deal, you go for the iPhone 17, which is a phenomenal phone. I think if you go for the iPhone Air, you're going to love it. You're going to really enjoy just carrying this phone around. I think it's a phenomenal device. And if you go with the 17 Pro or Pro Max, you're going to get all those features and more with the vapor cooling, the better cameras, longer battery life, and the thickness of the phone. So to be honest, you really cannot go wrong this year when it comes to iPhones. And again, it's all about preference. And something that I really like with a lot of these companies is if you buy a phone from Apple or your carrier, if you try out the phone and then you're like, I'm not really sure, maybe I want to switch, you have the option to do so. And that's what I've said from the beginning, is I was going to try out the iPhone Air. I was going to use it. I gave myself some time, and I just think the camera for me, I just really need to use it more, especially me as a creator. I don't want to discourage anyone and be like, oh, you should also return it too, because that's not the case, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is every phone, people have certain needs in a device, and over time I've realized that I just really need that as a creator, and it's the reason why I wanted to switch. I'm also going to miss the titanium. Going from the iPhone Air, which has this beautiful polished titanium, to the iPhone 17 Pro, when you have this titanium in your hand, you really appreciate just how beautiful it actually is. It is such a gorgeous, gorgeous look. It makes this phone feel so just sleek, professional. I know a lot of people are using the analogy like jewelry. It really does have that kind of feel to it. And going to now the 17 Pro, you don't have that titanium that is so nice. You're going to an aluminum, and that is, again, a compromise that I have to make. And am I willing to make that compromise? I think so, just for the overall experience of what I'm looking for. But it is really upsetting, and I do wish on the Pro series they added this beautiful polished titanium, because it would have just made it so much better. I'm definitely a fan of titanium compared to aluminum, and I don't really understand why Apple, when the 15s came out, They were telling everyone this is the newest thing that we're doing, this is so much better, and then they removed it. So unsure about that. Something that I do want to mention, what would be some things that I think could be improved on the iPhone Air for the next year's model if they decide to do it, or just upcoming models in the future. One, obviously, is I think they should have put a wide angle lens. I think even just that would have been, I think a lot more people would have joined the iPhone Air group of people that want to purchase it. The speaker, honestly, people are making this seem like this is the worst speaker ever, and that's just so far from the truth. The speaker is honestly fine. Yes, it is not as good as the 17 Pro Max, which is obviously very expected, but it really was not a deal breaker for me. I think if they could somehow fit 2 speakers into it, I think that would be great, because again, that's another issue for a lot of people. And the battery, I think the battery was something that everyone was freaking out about, but really it was not an issue. I think a lot of people were commenting that the battery sucked, but they didn't even own the device. And then I think for people that did own the iPhone Air, I don't think they gave it enough time to actually see what the battery would be like. And like I said, the battery has become a lot better over time compared to when I first purchased it. So it's been phenomenal. It's gotten me through all the days. And then I just think besides that, maybe you add new colors, maybe this phone, I just love the form factor. I really like the form factor. So it's phenomenal. It's really phenomenal. I'm going to miss the Air. And comment down below, what do you think about my decision? Do you think I'm making a mistake? But thank you to everyone who's watching. Please comment down below. I try to reply to every single comment that I can. And if it's a hateful one, I'll either delete it or I'll try to respond to you. But let's just be nice to each other. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it. Take care. Bye.